Good evening, baby girl. How are you? Happy Thursday. I'm not gonna stay before you long. It's late. I'm just getting in, so I need to make dinner and get ready for bed because I am pooped. But I could not let the night go without letting you know what God gave me this morning while I was in prayer. So I have done a video message about this before, but I know it's something to it because God gave it to me again. And that was this. So I was reading, God took me to Jeremiah, the first chapter, this morning. And I read the entire chapter, but the thing that stood out and God started dealing me with was this. Um, so this is where Jeremiah was, where God was saying, you know what, you know, I knew you, you know, before you were in the womb and all the other good stuff. This was that famous, you know, line that everybody always quote, I'm sorry, that I knew you before you were even, thought of, basically. I thought of you. And I, kind of deemed you prophet over many nations or whatever. So as I was reading it, that wasn't the good part, even though that's a good part. But the good part was this, because Jeremiah was like, I'm just young, and God was like, don't say you young, and he's just, kind of giving him instructions. But the Bible said that Jeremiah was saying God God came to him, right? I don't know if this was a dream or a vision. I don't remember it saying, but he said in one of the verses, he said, God came to me. And it had to be a vision. I think it was a vision, or maybe it was a dream. He said he showed him, he saw, God showed him a branch, and God asked him, what do you see? He said, I see an almond branch. And here was the crazy thing. When I read that, I said, how you know it's an almond branch? And I said, maybe because I don't know what an almond branch looked like. And I said to myself, I didn't say it out loud, but I said to myself, so I would have failed that test. And I didn't even know it was a test. But I said it to myself. I said, oh my God, if he would have showed me that and said, what do you see? I just, because I don't know what different kind of branches are. So the Holy Spirit was like, well, God would have showed you something that you would have known. You know what I mean? But because that was, they knew how to differentiate the difference between, a pecan tree and an almond tree, or a peach tree, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, they knew the difference. And I was like, phew, because if it was me, I don't know trees like that. I wouldn't have known what this branch was from a pine tree or something like that. But I think there was a point to it. But the crazy thing was not just that. The crazy thing was this. God was like, okay, you're right. And you passed the test. And I was like, what? So that wasn't. I mean, so I don't know if you remember, but I had did a video a few weeks or so back. And that video was about how the test is always easier than the preparation for the test. And in the video, I was telling you how I learned that throughout the years when I was in the military and we were prepping to go to the board or anything we were prepping for, whether I was in a school and, trying to graduate, there was a certain test that you had to take to pass to move on to the next level, or to get certified, or whatever the case may be. And the preparation for it, the pre-test and all the quizzes and everything, like, they were always so tough. So you were afraid to take the test that by the time the test come, a lot of people quit because like they were too afraid to take the test because all of the quizzes and the pre-test, all that stuff was so extensive. It was tough. And then you go take the test and it's like 3 questions and they're all multiple choice, and all the multiple choices was like you had me worried for I was sitting up here stressing over 3 questions, So I said in the video before that the actual test is always easier than the prep for the test. And so God brought that back to me this morning as I was reading Jeremiah, when he showed him a branch and he said, "What do you see?" And he said, "A almond branch." And he said, "You're right, you passed the test." And I was like, "Oh my, that was it." He just had to identify what a branch was for him to be qualified. I couldn't understand it. Like, oh my God. So I kept reading. And God came to him a second time and said, "What do you see?" And it was a pot of boiling water. And he said, "I see a boiling pot of water." He said, "It's turned to the north." And he said, "Right." And basically, now go tell my people that, but it was just crazy. Like, it was just crazy. And so again, the Holy Spirit was like, you passed the test because it was easier than you thought. You're still wondering, you're still trying to pass a test you already passed. You're still trying to prep for a test you already took. You're still trying to prove you can do something you've already done. So don't be alarmed because the test wasn't what you thought. I know to feel qualified, sometimes, you think you have to go through so much. But when God called you and God ordained you for whatever position it is, for whatever, place in life he's going to place you, whatever it is, and it's your time, the test is simple because you've been preparing for it your whole life. You've been picking almonds off of this almond tree your whole life, and now all you had to do to pass the test was tell me what kind of branch this was. you know um you've been doing whatever it is long enough that when God presents the test to you, and it's a 1-question test, you're gonna know the answer. It's not a trick question. And the crazy thing is, you're not even gonna know it's the test, but you've already passed it. And so I just thought that was amazing because we feel like we got to do so much to be great. But God puts the greatness in us. He gives us the wisdom. He gives us the knowledge. He gives us the understanding. He gives us all of that, So you don't have to do what you think people think you need when God calls you and God qualifies you. You're not going to need what everybody else needed, So don't stress. You've already passed the test. Don't think you're too young. Don't think you're too old. Don't think you're too big, too little, too whatever. God already called you, you know, and you've already passed the test. So now you're on assignment. And the one thing I got out of that is don't be afraid of the assignment. Because just like in Jeremiah, God said, I made you a fortified building, you know, with your walls made of brass. Nothing can move you. Nothing can break you down. Nothing, because I'm with you. He said, I want to deliver you. So don't be afraid. You know, he said specifically, don't be afraid of their faces or nothing that they say. They may not like what you have to say. They might not like what you do, but hey, you coming in the name of the one that sent you because you passed the test. So I was so excited about that word this morning. I can go on and on and on about it, but I really wanted to share that with you because I thought it was so vital that we know that we don't need to stress and struggle about, you know, being ready for something that God already prepared us for and we already passed the test. Just walk in your assignment. Okay, baby girl. Well, I hope this blessed you. I'm going to get on up and make dinner and just know I love you. And if I don't come back tonight, I'll come back sometime before the week ends with something else because God has already given me something else. So I love you so much. I'll talk to you later. Have a good night. Bye.